Welcome to another edition of Satchats Short Stacks. Today, we're going to be talking about three possible futures for Bitcoin. We've got the cyber Middle Ages, we've got the long, slow nation state, and then we've got one world government. I'll be your host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, proud multi-coiner, Bitcoin smash buyer. Go to YouTube, smash the subscribe button. If you're one of the first 1,000 subscribers, you'll be entered to win 1 million sats, and you'll help us unlock our live show Friday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And I'm Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes. So the first option that Chris mentioned was the cyber Middle Ages.
What in the heck does that mean?
First of all, how do you even feel when I say cyber Middle Ages? What in the world do you even think I'm trying to say?
I feel like I need to be huddled up by the fireplace inside of my castle.
Like, do you feel like it's like a world where you might be less safe?
Yeah, I feel like it's we have taken a step back from where we are today, but that eventually that means we'll take a big leap forward.
Yeah. So I kind of felt the same way initially, where I'm like, I don't want to step backward, right?
Yeah.
Because in the Middle Ages, maybe it was scarier, it was less safe, maybe you died of disease easier.
Yeah.
You could kind of be burned at the stake just for like being a chick, for example. But what I'm trying to convey here is not a step from future into past, but a step from centralization to decentralization. So the centers of power have become more centralized over time. Like during the Industrial Revolution, people started building things in large factories. They were in one spot. They had a big footprint. Think about Henry Ford's automobile manufacturing assembly line. Well, what does the government do? It goes ahead and wraps itself around that physical location so it can capture your hard work for itself. But with the computer and now with Bitcoin and the internet, the people are becoming more and more spread out.
Yes.
And if people are becoming more and more spread out, it might be harder to govern them effectively from a centralized position. So you get this scenario where the centralization of power gets broken up into smaller and smaller pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this concept of give the decision to the person who's closest to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a form of going from centralization to decentralization. But the cyber Middle Ages gets even crazier, bro.
Okay.
So during the Middle Ages, there certainly were people that were organized around a local government, but there were organizations of people who had no place or who had no fixed place. So the Knights Templar, for example, they had headquarters in Germany at one point. They had headquarters in Jerusalem, I believe, at one point. They weren't a people organized around a place. They were a people organized around a concept or a code or a belief.
Mm-hmm.
The internet and Bitcoin can create a scenario where we can decide to associate with a type of person who's all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you, for example, you might create the Knights Bitcoin, where you're not a member of a nation state. You're not a member of a decentralized kind of local modern principality type thing. You belong to a code. And the internet allows us to find one another and kind of group each other like that. So think about the cyber Middle Ages as Bitcoin's decentralized capabilities marrying with the internet's decentralized capabilities and the fact that most of us can work from anywhere these days, and reorganizing society by breaking it up into smaller pieces and also breaking it up into groups that ride along the top.
Very interesting.
Wild stuff.
Yeah.
Wild stuff. So that's the cyber Middle Ages.
Okay. All right. So next we've got the long, slow nation state.
Yeah. Okay. And what do I mean by the long, slow nation state? I mean that Bitcoin has already One, Bitcoin has already established itself as an alternative monetary system for the whole world that doesn't care who you are, doesn't care whether you're a business or a person, doesn't care whether you're a nation state, nothing. But the nation state isn't going to go, uh-oh, we lost. It's been good. I guess we'll pack up our bags and go home. The nation state has enough power to attempt to adapt itself as much as humanly possible to live as long as it possibly can. So over the coming decades, nation states will adopt a Bitcoin standard or at least a strategic Bitcoin reserve. They will attempt to convince their citizens that it's still a good idea to live within their borders by tying their currency to hard money for the first time since the world went off the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
By changing laws and saying, hey, no more gains tax on your Bitcoin. Hey, we're really sorry that we took all of your money and then printed more and didn't give you any value for it. That was our bad. And we are, we're going to try to do better. The nation states, they don't want to get canceled, dude.
So when you say long and slow, you're talking about a long, slow process of them kind of walking back all of these constrictions that they've placed on citizens.
Basically, it's kind of like when you call up your cable provider and try to leave and they're like, but hey,
yeah,
real quick, so sorry. Do you want to just like pay half what you were paying?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's enraging. Why wasn't I paying half a second ago when I was just allowing myself to be subscribed to your service? Like they kind of change their tune all of a sudden when you make it clear that they're not good enough anymore. Like they're going to try to get their act together. And that's going to happen over decades and maybe even centuries, where the nation state will still be there, but it'll look different. It'll supply different services.
I get it. I get the cyber Middle Ages, what that could look like. I understand now what you mean by the long, slow, the nation state, essentially, right? Now, walk me through maybe the most easy to understand based on its name, but one world government. What does that look like? How do we get there?
Yeah. So from a human being perspective, most of us prefer one. We like one. We always want that one thing or that one simple trick. We want our lives to be easy. We're not really comfortable with multipolarity and complexity. Humans, no matter what, we all just kind of converge into like a oneness, basically. So it would be much easier for us to conceive of a single government in the future. And we see that in Star Trek, for example, and a number of other science fiction stories. Much easier to conceive of a single government in the future than a cyber Middle Ages where everything that was combined actually breaks up all over again. You know what I mean? Like people want to see it all come together. They don't want to see it break apart. So I think human beings have a preference for things to converge. But I also believe that in the 19th century, the world was almost effectively on a gold standard. America was on a gold standard. The United Kingdom was on a gold standard. Europe was on a gold standard. India and China were on a silver standard, and much of their wealth was vacuumed up to the countries that had a gold standard. And Saifuddin talks about how they're still catching up. India and China are still catching up today from having adopted the wrong metal in the 19th century. Sheesh. But that gold standard allowed countries to trade with one another very easily. There wasn't really any funny business. How much gold is your thing? It's this much gold. Okay, let's make the transaction. I don't care if I'm on this side of the border or that side of the border. The money is the same. And it allowed us to work together in a way that we haven't been able to do since, because we all broke up into our own little slips of nation state paper, and it gets all complicated again, right? If the world adopts a Bitcoin standard, then there is one money for the entire world. And I believe that over time, the oneness of the money will lead to a oneness of the government, because you will break down all the artificial borders and barriers that are put into place by fiat currency, by wage controls, by price controls.
Yeah.
If you have a single free market that is global, you start to lose the original rationale for breaking yourself up into nation states.
Yeah.
So,
and it makes sense, because if you don't have all these, currencies and individualist, kind of agendas of all these different nations, then you don't need all these governments to manage all the differences, right?
Right. It's no longer necessary, because you just have one good, clean thing underpinning everyone.
Right.
So you'll have the United States combined with Canada and Mexico to make North America. You'll have all the little small buddies, and in the Caribbean combined to become Central America. Everyone in South America will become South America. Everything in Europe will become Europe. Everything in Africa will become Africa. Russia and China and India, maybe they glom together. But then once you have that, then North America, Central America, and South America will say, shoot, that China, India, Russia glomming together, that's pretty, I don't know about that. And they'll turn into just America. It won't be North, Central, or South. It's just going to be America. And eventually they'll just all come together. And you'll have a single government operating on a single currency, no funny business, nothing. And to be honest, that actually sounds the most appealing to me. As much as the cyber Middle Ages and the decentralization and the self-sovereignty and I spent a lot of my life studying that time period appeals to me, I'm also a Star Trek The Next Generation guy. I'm a Jean-Luc Picard guy. I don't understand why we need to be at war with one another. I don't understand why we can't share things. I don't understand why we can't come together as a race and say, hey, let's pick a different bad guy. Like let's pick a nameless alien, tell ourselves that the alien is out there and that we need to make some starships with freaking machine guns attached to the side to go, because we're a warring people, aren't we? We love to fight each other. Let's go find somebody else to fight. So I'm kind of into that one world government action. Which of the three options are you down for?
I would agree with you. The cyber Middle Ages just does not sound appealing to me. I like the comforts of my life today, and I think a breaking up of things would lead to more discomfort than I'd like to sign up for myself or my kids.
But what if the Lord Kirby could summon all his loyal satillionaires to his side to go do war?
I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want lieges. I don't want to become a lord of any kind. I just want self-sovereignty. I just want to be able to live the free, happy, joyous, and free life that I aspire to.
I think a single futuristic form of organization, we don't even need to call it a government, some kind of single futuristic global, Bitcoin is a global currency. So why not have a global organization that goes with it? And we can all be sovereign individuals. The organization could operate according to a set of rules that everyone can see that cannot be changed. And then everyone knows where they are. Everyone knows that they're safe, and everyone can work as hard as they want to work to get as far in life as they want to get. So put it down in the comments below. Are you going to don a suit of armor and pledge your lance to the Lord Kirby in the cyber Middle Ages? Because let's face it, I would be in a wizard tower somewhere. Do you like the idea of a nation state getting its act together once it realizes the jig is up and over time reshapes itself to better suit your needs? Or do you think that you would like a one world government, Star Trek The Next Generation, Federation of Planets? Some people say, Empire, Star Wars, not good. Let us know which of those three you like. And if you can see any other possible future, thanks to Bitcoin? Put that in the comments as well. I want to hear what they are.
Well, this has been a fun short stack. I certainly enjoyed peeking into the future a little bit with you. And for our audience out there, we thank you for being here and must remind you that satchats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed for financial advice. See you on the next one.